Hola, estudiantes. Hey, ¿qué está pasando? Stop that elf. Yes, please stop the elf. Well, you're probably wondering what the stop sign and the elf is all about, but we have a couple of acronyms that are going to help you to understand when to use our two verbs in Spanish that mean to be. Ser begins with S, just like the stop sign does. And a little bit later, we'll be talking about the acronym STOP and how that will help you to remember when to use ser. But today we're going to use the acronym ELF, and we're going to talk about the verb estar, and we're going to talk about adjectives that will have to use the verb estar. So let's jump into this. The acronym again is ESTAR, and the E in ELF stands for the verb estar. Do you remember the verb forms of the verb estar? Estoy, estás, está, estamos, and están. This is a verb that means to be. I am, you are, he is, we are, they are, etc. Okay? So the L in the ELF acronym stands for location. And previously in this week's activities, you talked about the house and locations in the house, and you used the verb estar. So if you're asking a question like ¿Dónde están los abuelos? ¿Dónde están los abuelos? Los abuelos están en el comedor. So you use the verb estar, están, when you want to say where someone is. They are in the dining room. The grandparents are in the dining room. Well, the last letter in the acronym is the F for ELF, and that stands for feelings. And the question we're going to use is ¿Cómo? ¿Cómo? How? I don't know if you remember way back at the very beginning of Spanish, we talked about the question ¿Cómo estás? How are you? We use the verb estar and how, ¿Cómo, to ask how someone is feeling. The adjectives that are on this list that you're going to do now are all adjectives that you would want to know how someone is feeling. So they're all adjectives that you'll use with the verb estar. So make sure you've pulled out your vocabulary page so you can fill in the meanings of these adjectives that we're going to talk about next. The first ones are all going to be feelings. ¿Cómo está Joy? How is Joy? ¿Cómo está Joy? Joy está feliz, feliz. Happy. Joy está feliz. That's a feeling. ¿Cómo está ella? Ella está triste, está muy triste, ¿sí? Ella está triste, sad. ¿Cómo está el hombre? How's this guy? ¿Cómo está el hombre? Está enojado, sí, está muy enojado. He's angry, enojado. ¿Cómo están las ovejas? Están contentas, contentas. Did you notice that las ovejas, the noun phrase, is feminine and plural? And so the adjective contentas that we use to describe them is also in a feminine and plural form. Contentas. Las ovejas están contentas. ¿Cómo está Scrat? Scrat está nervioso, está nervioso. ¿Cómo está Kermit? Kermit está preocupado, sí, está preocupado. He's worried. Did you notice that the word preocupado in Spanish looks a lot like and sounds a lot like our word preoccupied? And preoccupied and worried are similar words. ¿Cómo está el pájaro? ¿Cómo está el pájaro? Está confundido. Since pájaro, the word for bird, is masculine and singular, then the word confundido, the adjective, also has to be in a masculine and singular form. Confused. ¿Cómo está la niña? ¿Cómo está la niña? Está cansada, ¿sí? Ella está cansada. She's tired. So the next section of adjectives on your vocab page are going to be conditions. Conditions. We're still going to ask the same question, ¿cómo está, or ¿cómo están? But now we're going to talk about conditions. So things like, ¿cómo están las puertas? ¿Cómo están las puertas? Están abiertas. They're open. Están abiertas. Since las puertas is feminine and plural, the adjective abiertas for open also should be feminine and plural. These are conditions. ¿Cómo están la puerta y la ventana? Están cerradas. Sí, están cerradas. They're closed. Están cerradas. ¿Cómo está el perro? ¿Cómo está el perro? Está limpio. Está limpio. Clean. El perro está limpio. ¿Cómo está Tommy? Bueno, Tommy está sucio. No está limpio, está sucio. ¿Sí? He's dirty. ¿Y cómo están ellos? Bueno, ellos están listos. Están listos. They're ready. Ellos están listos. ¿Y cómo está SpongeBob? Está ocupado. Está ocupado. He's busy. Did you notice that the word ocupado also looks very similar to our word occupied, which is a way of saying someone is busy? SpongeBob está ocupado. So adjectives, many adjectives have 4 forms, and on the list that I've given you today, these on your screen right now are the ones that have 4 forms. Let me give you an example. Contento could be in the form contento, contenta, contentos, or contentas. And it would change forms depending on the noun. If the noun is masculine and singular or masculine and plural, contento, contentos. Or if it's feminine and singular or feminine and plural, contenta, contentas. A couple of the adjectives on this presentation are only have 2 forms. For example, feliz, felices, triste, tristes. They do not have masculine and feminine forms. They only have singular and plural forms. And did you notice how feliz changed to a plural? You had to change the Z to a C and add ES. So let's do a little bit of practice. Mis padres están, and you want to use the adjective happy to describe your parents. Mis padres would be plural. So if you need a little bit extra time, pause the video and write your answer down on a separate piece of paper. Mis padres están felices. Felices, they're happy, right? Mis padres están felices. My parents are happy. Try this one. Mi hermano está, and you want to use the adjective busy. Mi hermano está. Mi hermano is masculine and singular, so you would use a masculine and singular form of the adjective, ocupado. My brother is busy. Mi amigo y yo estamos, and we want to say that we are confused. Mi amigo y yo is a plural subject, so the adjective confused would need to be in a plural form, confundidos. Confundidos. My friend and I are confused. Las hijas están, and you want the adjective for tired. Remember, las hijas is feminine and plural. Yeah, so you would use the feminine and plural form, cansadas. Las hijas están cansadas. Last example, las niñas están, and you want to say content. Niñas is also feminine and plural, so you want the feminine and plural form of the adjective. Sí, contentas, contentas. The girls are content. So just to recap, remember, adjectives with estar are going to answer the question, ¿cómo? ¿Cómo está? ¿Cómo están? And today, the adjectives that we talked about are all feelings or conditions, and those are required to use the verb estar. Adiós.